So, as all of you have seen, Anduin was turned into a vessel of the jailer prior to 9.1, and thus far he accomplished one of the most important missions for Zobal. Most of us have been calling him a Death Knight or a Lich King 2.0, but is Anduin really either of these things? And what does the future hold for the young king? Can he ever really revert back to the priest that he was in the past? Brought to you by Gamivo. Use my link to get Shadowlands in game time cheaper as well as any other game. Use code ORON for an additional discount. I gotta admit, I have definitely called Anduin a new Lich King 2.0 and a brand new Arthas, and you can't really blame me as he really looks like Arthas, both in the cinematics and especially in that concept art that was initially leaked, like that original art that we have seen. However, from the technical terms, it is pretty safe to say that he is not a Lich King. Of course, we can't say anything for certain, but one of the main characteristics of a Lich King is that, you know, he's a king. While Anduin was a human king, he doesn't exactly have a throne or an undead army at his disposal, or at least thus far he doesn't, and nothing really indicates that he ever really will. The best way to describe Anduin's current predicament is that he's a vessel of Zobal, so essentially he's just controlling him through domination magic. Now, while not a new concept, domination magic is one of the most interesting features of the Shadowlands that was quite recently expanded upon, and it is exactly this magic that the Eternal Ones used to imprison the jailer and to create his prison. However, little did they know that later on he would turn this magic into his strongest weapon and shape the maw with it pretty much in its entirety, which explains why the jailer is not a prisoner as he should be, but instead he's just a guy ruling his own quite isolated realm. Recently, in the 9.1 PTR, it was confirmed that Kingsmorn, the sword used by Anduin, this is in fact Charlemagne, the fabled Night Elven sword, most notably used by his father Varian, and later on even Saurfang in the duel against Sylvanas. Specifically, it was said that Charlemagne was used to forge the blade itself. However, the biggest question is Anduin actually a Death Knight? Is he undead? Or is he just under a spell, under a mind control spell? While this was, of course, not officially confirmed, we do have some really strong hints. The most likely scenario is that he is more than likely under a spell. Let's just draw a parallel with Arthas here. He took on Frostmourne, disappeared, and eventually at some point he just slipped into undeath. His undeath was more than obvious quite early on, as you have seen him in that cinematic when he attacked Terranas. His skin and hair was completely different, and he didn't exactly look like a young paladin in his early 20s. On the other hand, we have seen Anduin in both scenarios when he looked completely normal as he reached Bastion, and when he served the jailer and took on the form and delivered the key from Bastion. Just before he wounded the Archon, you could tell that he looked exactly like himself, blonde hair and everything. However, as the jailer starts taking control and consumes his mind, he makes a sudden shift in his armor, skin, hair and eyes. They all completely change, indicating more than obviously mind control. Of course, I don't discount that he could really be dead and that his living form is an illusion, but I really don't think that is highly likely. Additionally, he has this moment when he absorbs the key from the Archon and he is still under the jailer's control, but he has this single moment of free will, which to me more than likely indicates that it is actually just a spell. However, instead of speculations, let's see what Blizzard is giving us on this thus far. In an interview, they officially said kinda two things loosely. First is that there is in fact a mystery here with how Anduin's corruption will shape Warcraft going forward, and even if Anduin were to break free and if we freed him, he would be forever changed by this experience. He was always this youthful, almost flawless character fighting for justice and righteousness. However, he will not be coming out of this completely intact. So essentially, he is no longer going to be a pure light priest boy. Now, of course, this doesn't really say all that much that we didn't really know already, but I think we can all see the real meaning, and that is that we're not going to just break the spell and just revert Anduin back to normal like nothing happened. We know for a fact that there will be consequences and that he will be changed forever. Whether these are actual physical changes or just mental traumas, it is hard to say, but Anduin will definitely never be the same. However, in my opinion, I think there is definitely a big difference between him being undead and never being human again, and just being a bit of a colder person. The reason why I don't think he's actually undead in the form that we're all familiar with so far, and that is because his transformation and enslavement occurred within the Shadowlands, and it all happened while he was in the afterlife as a living being, so he didn't really die. Additionally, I'm almost 100% certain that the light is going to play a really big role in this entire exchange, as it is quite obvious with many hints. First is that we have seen the light actually helping him fight against the Jailer's forces right in the middle of them all, and it is pretty much the sole reason why we managed to escape and even reach Oribos. The second is that the light is obviously going to play some sort of a role in the future, and it has significant influence in the Shadowlands, as evident with the Naru in Revendell. So, in my opinion, a likely scenario is that the light might intervene, it might save his soul, or maybe even his soul might be split and a part of it saved by the light. On the other hand, it is also possible that he may be disillusioned with the light because it didn't save him and it allowed him this fate, which might be changing the way we view the light on Azeroth. This could be exactly what Blizzard meant when they clearly hinted that we'll free and save Anduin, but that the World of Warcraft story will be changed forever and the way we view things. This change might just be on the cosmological scale, and it might be leading into the next expansion. Thank you for watching. Check out how Sylvanas' soul was split by clicking on the screen, and also check out Nautilus Academy for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.